tonight is one of a regular monthly meeting for the not-provoked leadership, and the intention is to get feedback primarily from the members or potential members. And if you're a former member, we'd love to have you back because membership is now just a $10 commitment for 3 years. It'd be nice to hear actually from Darek how he felt his campaign went.
I got the Meet the Candidates meetings were good. I think I was told I got the most engagement from people. So claps, guffaws, approval. And so no one else got that. And I was just talking truth on climate and how the councils aren't actually listening. They're just pushing an agenda. The younger the audience, the less approval I got. That was interesting. And we were invited to one by, I heard someone say it before, Adam Marai, Silverdale Marai.
Right.
And we had organized a Julian Batchelor Stop Co-Governance meeting. And the Marai had actually come and invaded that. They terrorized the place and shut the meeting down. We had the whole Orewa police crowd called in.
Right.
When was that?
It was a couple of years ago.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Not recently.
And no, not recently. It was the time when Julian learnt he needed to make it private meetings, not public meetings, because in a public control the audience, but in a private one you can actually get the police and to ask people to leave. So at that meeting, it was a forest and bird meeting, and the people at the Marae slipped in two questions at the end: do you support co-governance and do you support Maori wards? And the other three members of my team, I joined the Coast People team, which is Gary Brown and Leanne Willis, and then another and her partner. And Gary and Leanne were incumbents last time, and they didn't go to the Marae because they knew the Marae would, jump on them. But I was willing to go. I'd been jumped on by them before, and so everyone else said, either I support Maori wards and I support co-governance, or I don't know a lot about it and I think it's a good idea. It's probably a good idea. And I said, just stood up and said, I beg to differ. And I don't support Maori wards and I don't support co-governance. And I do believe the chief ceded sovereignty and a couple of other things I said, and which did not go down well. But I was happy with that. And I had a few of the candidates that were in other teams come up to me and say afterwards, both on my stance on climate and on the Maori issue, that they would vote for me. So good response from the other candidates, good response from the older people, younger people still, I mean, they've been indoctrinated a lot, as we know.
Yeah, it takes a long time for that to wear off.
Yeah, it does. And I think next time, if there is a next time, because I think it could happen in the next 3 years, and whether we'll actually have elections in 3 years' time, I don't know. But I think we need to be using social media a lot more. When I look at the people that got voted in this time in our ward, the two that got the most votes are Jake Law, and Jake is Michael Law's grandson, and he's very, very, full on with the narrative, what was I going to say? So him and his co-partner Gemma are the two most voted in, and they have they have one guy, Nick Rado, on their team who runs a daily radio show, I think, weekdays on the coast. It's like just a local radio thing, and he has Jake on there at least once a week, and he's lauding his praises every day. So they've got stuff like that handled and a lot more social media presence, I think. And Emma, who won the Kaipatiki seat, she's a VFF local coordinator. She spent a lot of time on local media, but she also ran last time as well. So she's had a lot of experience running. So it's a grist for the mill, and I think what we need to do now is focus on supporting the people, because Gary Brown and Willis are pretty much on our side, and are if we can, stay in touch with the whole council process over the next 3 years, keep our oars in, keep putting our thoughts in, keep contributing, and keep calling the other unconscious people to account. I think that's the main game plan for this next 3
All
years.
right. All right. So what were the things that did work and what were the things that didn't work? For example, do you think billboards made any impact?
I've got no idea, but I think
Right.
social media has a lot to do.
All right.
I mean, everything, I think every did had an impact. I mean, if you look at the people that got their billboards up first, that was Jake Law's team. So you could say, yeah, billboards have an impact. And they also put up taller ones, so no one could get theirs above them. So
Right.
they had the tallest ones. So you could say that, and they were more relaxed in their clothing than, shirts or jackets and open neck shirts. So they were more relaxed profiling. But they're also involved in a lot of other things like various youth groups, student. So they've got the younger side of the vote thing going on.
Mhm.
Did you do flyer drops?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we put out about 10,000 flyers.
Mm.
Yeah, and John, I don't know if in this area there's John Watson and Wayne Walker did like not just a flyer, they had like a little newsletter, but they said a lot of things taking credit for what the local board did, not them. And so, and they really, they had completely different, they said things as if they were the bee's knees, but when you looked at it, and Wayne Brown actually did do a rebuttal letter to their claims that just laid it out that no, they can't have done that.
Okay. Damon, are you there?
I'm here.
Right.
I'm here. Just my signal's really bad because I live out in Manukau Heads.
Right. I just wondered if you'd like to give your thoughts, your comments on your campaign. I know you've got sunburn and sore feet from all your campaigning. And
Right on.
Yeah. What's your lessons? What do you think worked and what didn't work?
Yeah. I think that going out and talking to people is more effective than social media, at least where I live. It could be different for different areas. I suppose in the city, social media might have more of an impact, especially if there's more younger people. But most of the people that are kind of like retired and all that, they still prefer the face-to-face. I think quite a number of my votes actually came from just saying hi to people,
Right.
And I did my fire drops. That's good. I feel like I got most of Waiuku. I think it's definitely easier as a team, especially for local board. For example, down where I am, Team Franklin was the group that had members running in each location, whereas for the councillor role, Act Local Dean Green, he's based out in Maraetai, so he had a lot of presence out there, but he had no presence out in Waiuku. And the other guy, Les Thomas, who ran for councillor, he's based in Waiuku, but he had no presence in Maraetai Cleveton. So that's part of the reason why Team Franklin does so well.
Okay.
And yeah, there's not much else to say, really. Yeah.
All right. So Michael and Catherine, you did a lot of footwork, as it were, pounding the streets during that election. And what's the feedback? Do you think it was worth it, or? Do we need
well,
a different approach?
was like what Drag said, that it's hard to know exactly, because we did deliver with our team a lot of flyers, and we put up billboards for both one of the candidates for councillor, Mike Lee, and he was successful, so that felt very worth it. He actually put out a newspaper out as well, which is a bit more painful to deliver than flyer, and so we delivered that. So he was successful by quite a long way. In fact, I think he's posted something where he's messaged Catherine today that he doubled his margin compared to last time, even though the voter turnout was lower. But on the other side, for the local board, it was a disaster. We were campaigning to support C&R plus an independent, Gail Baldock, and we helped them both a lot. But it was a fail. And what I've learned from that, the reason why I supported Gail is, apart from the fact that we've got a really good relationship with her, and she's a very strong community advocate. Her heart's always in the right place. She doesn't take sides. The reason why, for me, that was supported her so strongly, because I just thought that C&R would absolutely get over the line, even if it was just 4 out of the 7. And I was shocked to see that it was the other way. It was 5-2 against.
Yeah.
And had I known that in advance, I probably wouldn't have supported Gail. And the reason is that Alan Matson just missed out, and there was 3 independents in particular. There was Gail, there was a really lovely Chinese lady, Selena, and there was a Pete Marshall, who's quite well known. He's an original member of Rock the Vote. 3 of them stood, even though we asked them not to, because they were going to split the vote, but they stood, and they got, this is the results on Saturday. I don't know what the final result is, but at that point, 6,000 votes between them. And if they hadn't stood, most of those, I believe the vast majority would have gone to C&R, and I believe that Alan Matson would have got in, and it might have been a bit stretched for the 4th placed candidate, Anne Batley Burton, but I think it was possible. So everyone I've spoken to is a disaster for the Waitemata local board, because it's going to be woke on steroids for the next 3 years.
Well, we're going to have more speed bumps then.
Yeah.
Well,
The thing that we were amazed at when we went out to Franklin to hear the candidate Damon and the other candidates speaking out there, Waiuku and what have you, that they were just good, solid people who were asking about potholes in the road, flooding, medical centre, ordinary things that you would think ordinary people are interested in their borough and in the area. In Auckland, it's just all about climate change and all about do we agree with carlessness or not? And so it was really we're just watching the city dying, and so that's why we were so passionate about helping C&R to get in, because they had a slower idea, a more sensible idea, less ideology, and so we were really amazed that actually other people did not recognize it, that the City Vision group were going to just carry on. Everywhere you go, people say, oh, I hate all those bumps. So we were amazed that actually they ended up getting in, and also that there were 2 young women there who are, I don't even know if they're 30 yet. That you get the feeling 22. That they're straight out, one of them especially straight out of university. What ability do they have of running a city? I know that we like the idea of young people getting onto committees and boards. I don't know why, because actually what we really need is people who have had experience, to my mind, if we're going to be running a city. And so it was really amazing that those 2 young women got in, they were voted in. And so in other words, our community either voted for ideology, and this idea of pedestrianised areas and riding bikes, or which more likely to me is that everywhere I went for the last 2 months, each chance I got, I asked people, who are you going to vote for? And people had not a clue. They had not a clue what the politics was, what the for and against was, why would you vote this way or that way? Nobody had any idea. And I think that is the problem. And even if you read the booklet, everybody's blurb is written by themselves, and the words are cloaked, and so you wouldn't know really what the philosophy is between this group and that group if you haven't been following. And so in the city, I very much wonder whether, and of course we've got so many immigrants, and so it's even more confusing for them. Who do we vote for? And so my suspicion was that it just ended up a bit of a beauty contest, and people's kind of idea about, you could say, not really knowing about detail. But the other thing is that we knew, this is why Rock the Vote did not stand anyone in this election, because we knew that if we did stand somebody, we would split the vote on the centre right side, and that would give the Labour Greens a big leg up. And so we decided we would not do that, and so we were very, very disappointed to see the independents stand. Very disappointed. So there's just so much about it that is, for us, it's like, oh boy, we're going to end up 3 years worth of more and more of what we've had, expensive projects and watching our communities dying, not only because of pedestrianisation and cycle paths and what have you, but certainly that is not helping in this economic situation, and where we don't have the train coming into the city. Yeah, there's a lot to be very disappointed about from our point of view.
It's really clear that if you're an independent, you're highly, highly unlikely to win standing on your own. It's got to be a team effort.
In the city, anyway.
Yeah. So in the city, do you think it's dominated by the universities, and particularly the students?
Yeah.
There's a lot of that, enormous. That was evident.
And we did wonder whether this is what the young women did. Although, in City Vision, we wondered whether they had done some kind of collection of people and rounded up voters and what have you in the university. But at the same time, the two young men who were also standing with that Labour Greens group, they did not get in. So it was a surprise that the young women got in, but not the young men. And the other thing is that somebody was also saying to us that there is a huge amount of money available, global money available in New Zealand from the Greens direction, and it's just such big business globally that that this is this is something that we're up against. Money is not an object for the Greens, it seems.
So where's the money coming from?
Yeah, well, I'm just repeating what I heard. So,
okay.
I would say that, all of that global side of it that we know about and in our, fighting really in coming from those kind of invisible places.
Okay. All right. I'd like to move on to policy, Rock the Vote policies, because I'm not sure if people are aware of what our policies are, even though they are on the website as well. But it's worthwhile, I think, discussing them and getting feedback on them. And our byline for Rock the Vote is retaking sovereignty for New Zealand. And the trouble is, I'm not sure if people understand what sovereignty is and what does it mean by taking back sovereignty from whom and to whom. So I've pulled out, there's a document called the non-negotiables. And at the top of the list is a thing on NZ sovereignty. So we being Rock the Vote, we reject globalism. We have lost a great deal through being infiltrated by organizations that serve the ideas of globalization, which are foreign to New Zealand and are damaging to the New Zealand people and their way of life. We, Rock the Vote, will restore the greatness of New Zealand by breaking free from the control of international organizations such as the United Nations, World Economic Forum, World Health Organization, etc., so that the people of New Zealand may, as far as possible, control their own destiny. And there's probably a few organizations to add to that. So answers in the chat as to which other organizations you think that New Zealand should free itself from. And there's sovereignty as a country, sovereignty as a nation. So we'd like to see New Zealand as a sovereign state, but we'd also like to see sovereignty of the individual. That means enforcing and promoting the rights of the individual. And it's a recognition that the political system exists to serve the individual and not vice versa. We come together with others for our own and others' benefit, and thus society is created. Government exists to facilitate participation of many individuals within the greater society. It is not a power that exists for itself alone, but an entity that serves and is answerable to the people. What it does must be transparent to the people who have entrusted it to work for them. Fundamental to our government must be that it safeguards freedom of thought and freedom of expression. Rock the Vote will entrench the NZ Bill of Rights. The individual's rights are sacred and cannot be violated in a way that they were during the catastrophic forced vaccination, removal of freedom, and freedom of assembly imposed as part of the government's COVID response. And every individual is free to pursue his or her own ideas and goals so long as they do not harm others. I'll stop at that point, and I wondered if anyone had contributions or comments on that. Is that clear? Would people understand that?
Yeah.
Are people aware, or not just you guys, you're obviously aware, but people on the outside, the people you bump into in everyday life, are they aware of how much influence organizations outside of New Zealand have on New Zealand?
Yeah, I don't think most people are aware of that at all.
No.
No, we're not very aware. Yeah, I've
Mm.
tried to talk to my family about this kind of thing and friends, and yeah, they're not very aware of it.
Mm.
I find that the biggest feedback I get on the points you've just made, Andrew, are how are you going to get away from the UN? And I always say, well, we'll just defund and take it from there. And the other thing that I find that people come back at me with a worry is they believe that the World Trade Organization is part of the UN, which of course it is not. And they fear that an exit from the UN will impact our ability for global trade. They accept the answer very easily, but it is a fear that I find I have to address fairly regularly when raising the issues you've just covered.
Okay.
Does anyone else listen to David Starkey?
Yes.
David Starkey. He's on YouTube. He's a British historian, and he talks a lot about the problem of the kind of legal problem of the UN and these international organizations kind of come in above established British law. Anyway, it's quite interesting. I just thought I'd mention that. And I think that he might be against bills of rights. I think he might have an argument about why that is not actually a good idea, but I would have to listen to it. He is all about English law as opposed to European law, and the and bringing in the UN kind of brings European law into the British system, and it really undermines it. I can't briefly summarize it. I'll just put you on to David Starkey.
Yeah, David Starkey is a British historian. He's well worth watching, although he's hard work because he demands attention. It's almost feel like you should be making notes, and you probably should be making notes as you're watching him. But he does have a good grasp on history. And when he says he's opposed to the Bill of Rights, he's actually opposed to the European Convention on Human Rights.
Yes, yes.
Which was derived from the United Nations Declaration on Human Rights, and which is different from the Bill of Rights, because England already did have a Bill of Rights. When people forget this, it already did have rights of individuals and rights of the citizen or subject of England. And what the UN Convention was trying to do was spread those ideas around the world, and it's kind of come full circle. And what it came under Tony Blair in 1997, he incorporated the European Convention on Human Rights into British law, which fed human rights lawyers ever since. It's basically a money printing machine for them. So almost every legal case is now disputed on the basis of, oh, you can't do it because it's against the European Convention of Human Rights. And to do that, they introduced the Human Rights Act in Britain, which has been disastrous because it's been ridiculously interpreted. So the idea of family life, you have a right to a family life. Well, what does that actually mean? Does it mean that the state has to provide you with a family, or the state can't deport you if you're a criminal and your children doesn't like foreign cuisine, things like that. The result of incorporating the convention, European Convention on Human Rights into British law has meant you cannot deport anyone from Britain, and they have failed massively to deport anyone from Britain, and that's why they've got an immigration problem. So David Starkey's contention is the idea of human rights is nonsense. It's quite an interesting take on it. What do you mean by human rights? Because they go on and on and on about various things, including housing and education and healthcare. And he would much rather it be simpler that you have the right to life and liberty and potentially property. And that's about it. That's your right. That's your God-given right. Whereas what the Convention on Human Rights is trying to do is actually introduce entitlements for citizens. And it's come, as he says, it's incorporating a European style law into British law, and the two systems of law are not really that compatible. But thankfully, the New Zealand Bill of Rights is relatively short. And could easily be incorporated into New Zealand law. I mean, it's already there. All you have to do is say, make sure it takes precedence over what the government is doing. The government shouldn't be doing.
That's the thing with the New Zealand Bill of Rights. It does not, if it comes into conflict with a statute, it usually doesn't trump that statute.
Well, I'd say it should be the other way around. The statute shouldn't take precedent then. The statute would probably be wrong if it's in conflict with your Bill of Rights.
I don't know. All I'm pointing out is that you introduced the topic that it should be adopted. Yeah. And all I want to voice now is to say that I would have caution over that because of these ramifications to it. And I'm totally for, the maximum individual freedom. That's what I'm all about. And I don't want it to accidentally get eroded. Yeah, that's all.
Right. Can I just check something out? I mean, I understood it that the UN Bill of Rights or Declaration of Human Rights was about rights that can be given by government, but also can be taken away by government. Whereas the Magna Carta and everything assumes that, unlike the Declaration of Independence, assumes we have God-given rights. So that can't be taken away. So is there something in there that I'm missing, or have I got that right?
It doesn't explicitly say the UN Declaration on Human Rights doesn't have to explicitly say that this is what the government is giving you, but it's almost a plea that government should be providing this, and that's why it goes on and on and on about, you know, not just equality, not just freedom, but about, you know, a right to housing, a right to healthcare, and so on. A right to a family life. And if you think about it, are these really rights? Are these entitlements?
The problem is that it's telling government what to do, and we elect the government. We don't elect the UN, and it comes in as a super control above the government. And just because someone in government has signed us up to it, it isn't kind of put into place democratically. Anyway, I just wanted to I just want to point out that perhaps it shouldn't be automatically assumed that the Bill of Rights in New Zealand is a good thing, because the British system that we inherited has been a really good system, and there's been a lot of efforts to undermine it, you know, coming from communism and things. And I don't know whether the Bill of Rights getting in there could be. It just is something to not automatically say, yeah, that's a good idea. That's all I want to say.
I think you've made a lot of good points there, Bobby. But the only thing about the New Zealand Bill of Rights is there's a lot of good stuff in there if it's upheld. And I remember Paul Davey, he studied it, probably some people on this Zoom as well. But he said that to make it completely watertight as such, there's a clause in there that needs to be removed because it gives the government an out. And then you've also got to make sure that the judicial system will uphold it, you know, and won't fold under pressure from the government. Just the basic things, you know, the right, freedom of belief, the right to receive and impart any information of any kind, freedom of assembly, all that is fantastic stuff, you know. And then with the United Nations, the point, you know, I agree with Bobby, was that you got this overlord sort of organization that we didn't vote for. We can't vote in or out. It's a bit very similar to Maori wards, or having unelected representatives determining our lives, and we have no say over it. And I would argue that if you look where New Zealand was tracking before we joined the United Nations, we're probably doing just fine, and we're in a mess now. And I think it's just that classic thing of fear. What does it mean if we left the United Nations? Oh my gosh, the whole world's going to cave in. But maybe we could be the shining example that if we left, other nations go, well, New Zealand's done it, we're going to leave because the United Nations don't serve our interests anymore, our sovereignty.
See, the Bill of Rights, we might have had, without the Bill of Rights, we might have some of those rights anyway through, that's all. I mean, they might have already been established through English law already without the Bill of Rights. I'm just saying that just to not do an automatic, that's a great idea. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay. Yeah.
Andrew, would you excuse me? I'm on the road and I'm dying in darkness here.
All right.
I need to get going, but thank you for the call, and talk to you again soon. In the meantime, please excuse me.
I'll give you a call, Guy.
Please do, Michael. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
All right. Cheerio.
Bye.
All right. Move on to the.
Robin or Deborah want to say anything at all? Or?
Yeah, I couldn't help but notice that the Bill of Rights became invalid in a state of emergency, and it makes it very fragile, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I
But
totally
we need
agree.
something tighter than that. And we also need to make sure that our government is working for us.
Mm.
You think? That would be
Yeah.
Which would include, as much as possible, full transparency.
Mm, mm.
There should be nothing hidden.
Well, a constitution or something that actually binds them to a code of conduct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe bring back sedition, the crime of sedition, and they can be charged with it as well. Just an idea.
Mm. You got anything you'd like to share, Deborah? Or Lars?
Yeah, I don't know a heck of a lot about New Zealand, but I know that it says we have the right, not to be deprived of life. We have the right to refuse medical treatment. We have the right not to be tortured but yeah, there's nothing in it that gives us the explicit means to actually, defend ourselves from that kind of stuff. That's only my issue. That's my issue with it. Yeah. Whereas the American Constitution, they have the right to bear arms. They have the explicit means to defend themselves from anyone who's trying to. And I'm not saying it's perfect. They've got their own problems, but yeah, there's no explicit means to kind of uphold anything in it. So yeah, I'm still learning. Yeah.
Do you think we need a written constitution then for New Zealand? Would that help?
Yeah, like I'm still learning. Like I like to hang out in the spaces on X with my American friends and talk to them and stuff. I went through a phase of thinking that system's the best, and in some ways I kind of still do, but there's still ways that they still have issues. So, but yeah, I would say if it was a written constitution like they do. Yeah, I mean, like it was a lot less people over there were able to refuse the COVID vaccines, and people argue that the reason is because they got the guns. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's, you could argue that the way New Zealand's where it's ended up at this point in time, how much of a democracy do we have? Like, for example, I was just seeing yesterday that with the gene technology bill, tens of thousands of submissions, 97% oppose it, and they're still progressing it. And they just not even listening to the people of the country. And then what's the other thing? Luxon saying he's going to bring in legislation to introduce digital IDs. We haven't voted for that. We've had no referendum or national discussion. These guys are just bullies.
Partly because they've been told what to do from above, I'm guessing. Yeah. It's interesting that many countries are bringing in digital ID around the world. It's suddenly, it's been knocking around for years. And again, this is another Tony Blair idea that got crushed when he was in power, but he's back.
Yeah,
they want to bring digital IDs in there. It's a kind of a solution looking for a problem. And
the problems there. They've created the problem through mass immigration, illegal immigration, and then and now all the problems in Britain because of this, and now they're going to say we need this digital ID to make sure we can identify people.
And I hear Kia's son is the head of the company that provides those digital IDs.
It's you and Blair. It's Tony Blair's son.
Tony Blair's son.
Yeah, Tony Blair's
right,
son.
Thank you for that. Thanks. Yeah.
Tony Blair.
Yeah, you thought monarchy was dead.
This loss of common sense in our world, and which ends up being our what we thought was our God-given rights and sensible thinking, right at the beginning of, you know, after the COVID thing, we had a guy want to join our one of our groups, and he was saying that he had just lost his children because his wife had decided that she wanted to vaccinate the children, and he did not want to do that. And so the whole thing went to court, and because she was the mother, her opinion upheld, and the children went to the mother, and so that's the way it went. And after that, for several years afterwards, he helped husband, father after father after father in the same situation, where they were battling for the right guardianship of the children. And he said every single time, no matter what the mother was like, so, you know, we might, you know, usually we might say, well, a mother will be loving and caring, and, you know, and there'll be lovely reasons why she should be the guardian. But no, it isn't the case every time. But what he said was that in every single case that he was involved in, they lost every time. And I mean, and this
I've got a question about that. What would be the outcome, do you think? I know it's speculative, but if the man was actually supporting the vaccination?
If he was supporting the vaccination?
Yeah, you know,
yeah, I think it wasn't just about vaccine or not vaccine. It was about,
I know, but it seems to me there might be a bit of conniving going on there in terms of what the agenda was.
Well, yeah, could be. It's just that, you know, nobody's made a law about that. It's just that somewhere in the middle of, you know, the law world, somebody's decided that the men are always wrong and the women are always right.
Yeah.
And
I have had a huge amount to do with this.
Right.
It's Women's Refuge, no, the Women's Centre, I mean, is right in with Women's Refuge, is right in with Civis. They're just up the road. And the Men's Centre, who I used to belong to, they do try and do things like rely on, what's that ridiculous law that people try and say when you've got to put your name in capital letters and all that
yes,
kind of
common
stuff.
law.
They go off the deep end on that, which I know won't work.
Yeah.
I had a huge amount to do with all this. Yeah, the court will go with what's conventional, and they will go with the vaccination.
The government opinion.
Yeah.
It's sneaked into law. I mean, effectively has become the law through the family courts. Certainly in the Western world, that the family courts will always favour the mother.
Yeah, that's what the Men's Centre say. But I belonged to Men's Centre. I was really anti to Women's Centre, actually. And when I first joined Men's Centre, that I don't belong to anymore, all this is over, they didn't even know about like all the law, like the family court rules and all that kind of stuff. So that's part of why they'd lose, not only because they're bitter, because they're men. I know I'm agreeing that I'm disagreeing kind of that it always goes to the men, but it always goes to the woman.
Yeah.
But maybe the women are better supported for playing the system. There's more than the men are.
It's just that I'm just noticing that so much, you know, for instance, another one is that the government saying, no, we are not telling the schools what to do in terms of gender and sex education. And that's no longer something that we're lording over everybody. However, the schools, not every school, but lots of schools are still carrying right on like nothing has happened with extreme and obscene curriculum for sex and gender. And
does it come back to teacher training? Is that why they're so influenced?
It comes back to teacher not being trained. Teachers who have have gone back to the resources that were given to them a couple of years ago from the Inside Out resource people, or those trans people who were inventing all of that stuff. And of course, because they really haven't got any more idea about, well, how do we teach this subject, they fall back on the resources that they were last given. Sure, but at the same time, there is a total freedom in these schools for just sort of following what was an ideology sown just a little while ago, but now sort of like a cancer in our bones. And it's not even at that point of, is it your right to be taught so that your mind remains pure if you're a child. That kind of thing isn't what's covered in a Bill of Rights. It's so subtle, those things.
What I meant is is it teachers training college, whatever that's called nowadays, that institution, is that where they're getting this idea from? When
I wouldn't be surprised, Bobby.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised, because those people have been trained by themselves. They've been trained in the university world, which is very, very ideology, as we know. And so, yeah, what is normal and right for them is actually probably going to be very different to our mind.
Yeah.
And so is this what we call soft law? Is this what we call, I remember Jacinda skiting about it with somebody, that we were the first country in the world that were making social change in this way, very quietly creeping in through the back doors all the time, not necessarily through government legislation.
Yeah, social change has come, and this is part of the long march through the institutions. So, and it starts mainly in the universities, but also the teacher training colleges. And so all the teachers are going through universities, and then they go on to teacher training colleges. And so they've got this indoctrination in them, and that's where they take it to school. So your problem starts at school. So it's no wonder that the kids are coming out of universities and in universities voting Green, voting Labour, because it's all for the greater good, and we're going to save the planet, and it's all be kind. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, the two people, Jake Law and Gemma Moffat, and who are getting the highest votes in our as local board members above Gary and Leanne, are both teachers. So they're right in the thick of it.
All right. Can I move on to the next bit? Because I think it kind of ties in with what you've just said. Because item 3 was reconnection to genuine New Zealand values. And what we'd like to see is a fundamental redirection of New Zealand's values in many areas after the country has been led in a false direction for many years. We recognise and encourage values that benefit the community, strong families, support for those who work with the land, jobs that pay decent living wages for all who are able to work, adequate medical and financial care for those who are genuinely in need, protection from violence and relief from poverty, etc. We intend to re-empower New Zealanders and re-inspire Kiwi initiative and innovation. We will remove illegal measures taken by the Latin government. These include, but are not limited to, co-governance, He Papua, Three Waters and Therapeutics Products Bill, and all legislation based on race. So it's interesting. I'll just finish this section. We will appoint a People's Commission to look at the real issues of the COVID crisis. We sort of got a commission and then a second commission, but how convinced are you of that? And devastating injuries and deaths resulting from the rollout of the COVID vaccine on the New Zealand population, and find ways coming out of these ideals of truth and reconciliation to bring New Zealand together once more after the divisive policies of the Latin government. And sadly, I think people have just forgotten about COVID, and the vast majority have moved on. But certain groups in New Zealand have been marginalised, and we'd convene meetings of representatives of health professionals, farmers, small shopkeepers and business people to find solutions that these people themselves recommend. So, yeah, one of the fallouts from all the lockdowns was the loss of small businesses. Many nurses and doctors were put out and teachers were laid off, which seems a bit nuts. So that was written before the last election, but these are basically our values. And it's interesting, we look at the COVID inquiry, and it's a shame that the latest COVID inquiry isn't calling people to account. And that even ministers in charge of the COVID response are not being brought forward to the Royal Commission to give testimony and answer for what they did.
Yeah, it's got no teeth, that one. I kind of wonder about questioning what are key values, and I wonder if we need to have something in there about the need for truth, that a democracy is only as good as the quality of the information its populace has to make a decision with. And if we're being lied on fundamental levels, then we need to find out what the real truth is, and science should never be suppressed or limited or controlled or denied. So something like that might bring in a system of thought to help focus on how we're being mis and disinformed by our government agencies.
It just brings back to mind, really, who exactly is pulling the strings here.
Yes.
If nobody's accountable and there's all this immunity for obviously crimes against humanity, and it's just blatantly obvious, then there's something going on that isn't right. And who's in charge?
Yeah.
Very good point.
Yeah.
It just makes everything seem like a farce.
You start to question your own
isn't it?
reality at times. Yeah. I just decided last June, just talking about values, patriotism comes to mind for me. One of them. Patriotism, and the only thing we've got left, it seems, well, two things, I guess, is the flag. And that's debatable, obviously, in some circles, but not for me. At the moment, we've got a Union Jack on it. It might change. Maybe it will. And we've got the national anthem, and that's been challenged many times too, but we've still got those. So I did a bit of research about June, actually. Well, it started in May, and there was some talk by Trump about their National Flag Day at the time, which is the 14th of June, and it's a national holiday. And then I researched a bit more, and I thought, what are some significant dates around our flag? And it turns out the 12th of June 1902 was when our flag, as we know it now, was formally adopted as our national emblem. Well, 12th of June, 14th of June is the US one, and it seemed like a good idea to maybe put something out there. So I did, and a lot of people got on board, actually. They really embraced the idea. So it hasn't got big yet, but I'm going to pursue it on an annual basis. And just try and get some people just sort of focusing on what they're proud of here, because I think we've lost our way.
Yes. So it's almost like in New Zealand, it seemed like we were just taking all our freedoms for granted. She'll be right, mate, and we could go to the beach and have barbecues, and life was a bit of a breeze. And then suddenly Jacinda arrived with the COVID, and it's just, and her draconian authoritarianism has and everything related to that has just not only divided our country, but I think hurt it in ways that we can't fully appreciate yet. I think we're in a very unhappy country, and this where the patriotism can come back in to sort of galvanize us again to what's what we love about New Zealand, what's important to us.
Well, I think we've become an embarrassment on the global stage, really.
Yeah.
And we thought co-governance would go away with the new government that was supposed to be pushing away these race-based policies, but they seem to be coming back.
Yeah.
In there, they've just given new names. So Three Waters hasn't gone away completely. Bring it back under a new banner.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think Luxon is very much involved in the co-governance movement.
I agree.
So it's just like he's committed to UN climate agenda. He's also committed to the Maori separatism process.
Is he in the wrong party?
Well,
Well,
good question.
well, if you're trying to really hurt New Zealand, he's actually in the right party, because
Mm.
we could see that how the Labour parties with Jacinda and Hipkins hurt us. Now they've placed someone else on the other side, so it doesn't give us many options. I mean, that they were voted in on a mandate. I mean, they should be even national on their own after the Ardern era. Should be on the 80s, basically. All they need to do is reverse everything that an Ardern did, and we'd be back to on the path to happiness. It's just equal citizenship, equality before the law. No favor to any ethnicity.
Yeah, well,
But-
he's very much quotes the principles, doesn't he, Luxon, from memory? The treaty has principles, and we need to look at it.
You're done. Are we in a situation where our people are living in a kind of a fairy tale? This is what I think when I look around in the city, that everybody seems to be believing a whole lot of fluff about the climate change situation, and how how wonderful it can all be, as we come closer and closer to actually what looks to us like totalitarianism. It's just amazing that that other people seem to be so okay with the things that are screaming at us, that these things are going to become problematic. And it just, I'm just astounded at the way that our city this time voted for something that amounted to such a green story and social change, and it just makes me think, are we up against it when it comes to trying to convince our entire country that that all of that all of that verbal trickery actually isn't true?
But they believe it. And not only that, the sad thing is many young people actually trust the government.
Yeah.
And regard the government as their mother, and will do what mother tells them for their own good. I've even heard it tell that there's many people actually quite in favour of a digital ID. Why wouldn't you? What could possibly go wrong?
It's so fair.
And well, they even compare it to China, and that it's the system that they're going to introduce is similar to the one that's already in place in China. Interestingly enough, the surveillance system is called Skynet. Yeah, really. But people say, well, China is safe. You can walk the streets.
Yeah.
But you say the wrong thing online, you disappear.
Yeah.
Or you get your organs harvested.
You can't buy your bus ticket. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Well, I've
there's a
had
number
friends
of-
that go to.
Yeah.
Sorry, you go.
I was going to say, I think there's a number of factors that are impacting on people right now. Obviously, the vaccine will be one of them.
Yep.
But time in front of a TV, that's impacting on IQ. That's a fact. And then there's toxins in the water, and it goes on. And now we're going to have toxins in the food. And, you know, and we expect people to actually get smart all of a sudden. Well, it's all stacked against them, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
And it's a lot to swallow. If you have actually just opened your eyes, you know, we've had, most of us probably, 5 years at least to assimilate all of this. But if you try sitting down with somebody who's just opened their eyes and told them what is going on, that goes over, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
That's such a good point, because the I saw a post several months ago by Laura Oboldi saying that trying to awake the normies up now, she doesn't have time for it because things are moving so fast. You can't wake up overnight. It takes a lot of research and rabbit holes to go down. And in fact, we were speaking to someone yesterday that's sort of what I would call partially awake. But she admitted to us that, because we've been trying to wake her up, she admitted in a sort of a bit of a raw moment that she knew we were right, but the truth frightens her so much she doesn't want to look at it, because
She wants to live in a different world.
yeah, she's in denial almost. She's admitting that. And then, and just linking into that, we spoke to someone yesterday that went to Wayne Brown's election party on Saturday evening. There was a large contingent of Chinese there, and this woman got talking to these sort of appeared to be very wealthy Chinese businessmen, and they are worried about the New Zealand economy so much because it's affecting their investments and their assets, that if the economy is not turned around within 3 months, they want Luxon rolled. And it's only now that it's hitting them personally in the wallet that they're starting to panic a little bit, you know. But most people, maybe they sort of get an inkling something's wrong, but they can't put their finger on it, but it's not life-threatening yet. So they're just hoping that we'll going through a bad phase and it'll all work out and we'll pull out of it, which is definitely not what the plan is, that's for sure.
Can I just jump in, just going back, Robin, to what you were saying about TV? I complained to the New Zealand broadcasting people about, when I turned it on one day and there were two 15-year-olds real close up at 5:30 in the evening, absolutely snogging each other's faces off, two young women. And it was like, it takes a whole community to raise a child. It's like our community is not helping us raise the children at all. No. And when you're talking about the TV, the TV is teaching the children how to behave. And where we used to have Christian values, but maybe people don't go to church anymore, but they were raised with Christian values from homes that were reasonably conservative. Yep. And now we have exactly the opposite happening, where we've forgotten what it's like to have values and say nobody's watching you behaving badly except your own conscience. Yeah. We haven't got that going on anymore, but we've got the opposite, where we've got the TV teaching our children that two-facedness is normal behavior, that kind of, and all of that sexual behavior is the norm. And so I'm very desperate, really, in my mind, where I'm thinking we are training our children, and then in university they get trained again. We're training our children to actually not have the values that most of us actually would be upholding. And it's in our own lounge where that's going on, and in our own schools where we have entrusted teachers to do the job for us as well.
I think it's true to say too that parents really just don't have the time anymore, do they, to spend with their children, even if they wanted to or knew how to.
And I think they have lost a sense of what they're supposed to be doing. I know that one of the my friend, her father was the mayor of Auckland. He was invited to go to this to Parliament somewhere down there, where they offered him a knighthood if he sold the airport, and he said he would not do that, and so they ousted him using the rainbow world, and that was a terrible experience for him. But that is just how powerful our you know, this we have got corruption at every turn.
Yeah.
And so I want to be able to tell that story about what that man did. He said it will not happen under my watch, and as a result of that, he was ousted. But that's what I want my boys and my grandchildren. I want them to know that story, so that they then become men with a bottom line who can make a deal on a handshake, who have that absolutely integrity, and
The moral
we have
compass.
we've lost that moral compass, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
And there were other stories that he did, that same man, the things that he did that actually needed to be taught. You know, that kind of thing needs to be taught in school and discussed in families about this is the way our family behaves. But yeah, we don't do that anymore, Robin. We've forgotten, and neither do churches do that because we don't go anymore. And so we have a problem. How do we expect our community to be, you know, to be moral when we don't actually have lessons in it?
My observation of churches in general is that they've become very worldly.
Yep.
Very compromised.
Yep.
And so if they're not doing the job of instilling the moral compass, who is?
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then, of course, you know, we've had prayer taken out of Parliament, Bible in schools gone, all of this, you know. But the one thing that I hang on to is what I mentioned before, is our national anthem. It's actually a prayer.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's a great prayer.
Yeah, yeah. So to actually hear people singing that, I don't think they even know what they're singing, to be honest. But at least they're doing it, and it gives me some hope.
Yeah.
In the board meetings that we go to in the inner city board meetings for Waitemata, they do a karakia in Maori, and in fact everybody stands there very solemnly, and they stand there while this karakia is said on their behalf. But actually what they're doing is they're praying to the weather.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, it's not a prayer at all. It really isn't.
I'm very skeptical about anything in Maori that isn't translated.
Yeah. And not shared immediately in English, so you know what you're praying for.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. Because
who are you praying to?
I just wanted to jump in. Oh, sorry to interrupt. About churches. I went to a so like I felt pretty let down about church. Like it was just there was no real value, and it was very worldly and, you know, a little bit woke, as you guys were saying. And then my flatmate invited me to go to a Catholic mass in Te Atatu, and the preacher, Father Jeremy, was like pretty on point with saying like we need to instill proper values to our kids, was like calling out a lot of stuff. So I think there is some hope in some of them. Yeah, I quite like that. I don't know what church it is. It's in Te Atatu, some Catholic mass out there. So yeah, I felt pretty good with that. But I don't know, has anyone else had any good experiences with church?
Nope.
No. None at all?
Walked away, completely disillusioned.
All right.
Yeah, they're certainly protecting themselves yet again, and this is our problem. We have good people out there who are not standing up. I mean, you know, what's the point of being high moral compass if you don't stand up?
Well, true. It takes courage.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's what we need right now.
But this is also why the globalists can carry out their plans and what they're doing, because they know the West is weak at the moment and vulnerable.
We were delivering flyers in the Titirangi, you know, in the forest and what have you. We came across a church one Sunday, and we went in there and we said to the minister there, oh, okay, if we hand out these flyers to the people, and he said, no, he said, we choose that our church is non-political. So you know, so that was his reason for not upholding you know, the ideas that we would consider Bill of Rights ideas, but he thought that they were political.
I find myself feeling somewhat I don't know what the word is exactly, but when people say they're non-political, it's like they really don't care about people, do they?
Yeah.
You know, because politics is everything. It's life, it's your children, it's your education, it's everything. So to be non-political, you might as well hand them a shovel and go, you know, go bury yourself. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently Jesus turned up the tables, you know, when the wrong thing was happening, you know. I think that we could easily have been sold a story that is keeping everybody very easy to manipulate.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right.
But I'm absolutely for the idea of bringing back a spiritual view, and you know, absolutely for that idea. But I think that
hopefully not a Maori one.
No.
Well, that's the trouble. That is the trouble. That if you say you want a spiritual parliament or spiritual politics, you'll end up with Maori prayers and Maori dancing and all that kind of stuff, and the spirituality. You know, the water's got mana and all that kind of stuff. So it's because you've lost the basis of what New Zealand was, what it was founded on. So it's lost and adrift, and so therefore they're going to tag on to this. I'm going to say it's a new religion, but it's an old religion. You say it's not a prayer, but it really is a prayer. It's pagan prayer. Is what they're doing in the Carrick here.
Exactly.
Praying to the weather. And that's
it's not praying to God. It's praying to the direction the wind is coming.
Yeah, but it's praying to the
We
earth.
have to come back to.
We might be able to get some leverage from the national anthem. You know, we could really play that up and get everybody praying like crazy, and they wouldn't even know they were doing it.
But national patriotism has got a bad reputation, so young people think patriotism is bad. They don't assign themselves with a particular country, and many of them regard themselves as a citizen of nowhere. So that
they've been trained to do that.
They've been trained to do that, yeah, because you live in a multicultural world, and you know people move around, so therefore they don't feel attached to any particular country. Therefore, you don't have that sense of patriotism. And the other bad side is that patriotism is often confused with nationalism, and nationalism is often seen as a bad thing because the history of nationalism, certainly in Europe, wasn't a good one. In there, when nationalism is taken to the extreme, it gets violent and murderous.
So could we use another word instead of patriotism? You know, like rebrand it.
No, I think you just reclaim patriotism and reclaim the nation, reclaim the country, reclaim the flag, and fly it proudly. So there's a movement, you must have seen it in Britain, called Raise the Colours. And it's quite interesting because being the British, in one sense, they're not very patriotic. They're not explicitly, outwardly patriotic. Inwardly, they are. And it amused me when I went to America, and so in the 1980s, the kids were still pledging allegiance to the flag, and they were still, you know, everybody salutes the flag. And it's almost, why don't they do that in Britain? It's almost, well, you don't need to. It's taken as read, and it was always taken as read that you were patriotic and that you had already pledged your allegiance to the country, king and country, or queen and country, if it was then. But certainly the last 30 years, that's been diluted. And the only time the flags come out is when England are playing football or when there's a big number jubilee. So the coronation, the flags were flying all over the place. So there's a group of individuals in Britain started just putting up flags everywhere and mounting them on lampposts. And obviously the councils went and took them down and decided they were hateful, and they may upset the foreigners.
I mean, like what the
so
do is create division.
So again, what does it mean to be Kiwi?
What does it mean to be Kiwi? Indeed,
you know, we've got to bring it right back to, you know, a flag and God, maybe.
Yeah.
And what else? You know, what actually does it mean?
A sense of national pride, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Which doesn't
Kiwis
include a
are
haka.
patriotic during rugby.
I'll hark back to honesty and truth.
Yeah.
Hark back to honesty and truth. Like, unless we can be true to each other as human beings and support each other, then that's what I think being Kiwi is a big part about. We don't want to lord it over each other. We want to be equal with each other, and that means being completely honest.
Well, I'm actually a bit disappointed in New Zealanders after what was revealed during the COVID years and lockdowns, of people snitching on each other and happy to go with the division and the vaccine passes. Like, I watched this video by, some of you will probably know him, if not all of you, James Dellingpole, I think his name is. And he just couldn't believe the way he thought New Zealanders would stand up against this tyranny and everything, thought they were hard, the All Blacks, all that. He said, but they just all rolled over, you know. And that's why it's like, it's, you know, you have to reevaluate what it is to be a New Zealander, that we had these great forefathers that fought in the wars and fought for king and country and, you know, to preserve our free way of life. But in 2021 and that 22, we were a disgrace.
I think the occupation did actually reveal quite a lot of patriotism at that point, I thought. But then we lost it.
Yeah, Wellington protest.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you know.
Yes,
and
that came out.
I was very moved to see so many flags, not all the right sort of flags, but nevertheless, people were excited. We were banding together and we were going to take this on. And then it all fizzed, didn't it? And that was when basically, you know, it got disbanded and Antifa got involved and all the rest of it. And the police showed their true colours, and I think people became disillusioned.
Yeah.
Well, with the police, you saw the power of the state working against the people, the good people of New Zealand.
We were shocked that they behaved like that.
It traumatized a lot of people, I think.
We were shocked that our politicians behaved as they did.
Yeah.
And then that the police behaved like they did, and it took everybody, it was a big hit on everybody, and everybody took a long time to pull themselves back together again, of really recognizing it. What kind of world do we live in now?
Some people are still suffering with the trauma of that, actually. So.
Do you guys feel, oh, sorry to interrupt.
No, you go, Lars.
Do you guys feel that Brian Tamaki and Destiny Church, like, for all their flaws, at least they played some role in standing up against the lockdowns?
I do.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And the fact that
I'm thinking of going to their, oh, sorry. I might go to their 29th of August gathering in the city. Is anyone else going to that, or?
August or October, you mean?
Sorry, yeah, I think it's 29th or 28th of this month, October.
Definitely.
Fully.
We're strong supporters of.
We've gone every time he's done anything, and you know, lots of people say, well, I don't like this that he does, or I don't like that he does. It's like you have to just look at the general idea that he's upholding those ethics that we all wanna, you know, we wanna just support them.
We want to restore those. I would restore, but I'm in Picton, so I'm a bit far away.
Oh.
We'll put you on the Rock the Vote Learjet.
Okay. I'll be there.
But then, we're going to buy the Learjet.
Yeah. No, I think, you know, right from the start, Brian was out there with hordes of people and saying and doing all the right things. No, he's not perfect by any means, and he's got an ego the size of a bloody house, but nevertheless, he's doing his best to restore the values that we've just talked about. So that's he gets my vote there.
Yeah,
definitely. And I would think we would be in an even poorer state if it wasn't for him, because he's like such a threat to the government because he's got so many loyal supporters, and he calls them out, and
which is why they're trying to kill him off.
And you know he's doing something good because the mainstream media are constantly attacking him. So
there's a whole series on him that John Campbell did, and it's a real hit piece. Yeah.
Totally. John Campbell's always had it in for Brian Tamaki. He said because he's a threat, they'll just keep working at trying to destroy him, his credibility.
Well, it's a very good recommendation to be gone after by John Campbell, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah,
I mean, Brian had the first meeting where we all felt so naughty turning up at the Domain and feeling very, very criminal that we were gathering, you know, when we were not supposed to be, you know, and he
Good.
saw through
He's
it
a
that
rebel.
this is not right.
He's a rebel with the cause.
Well, Bobby has just posted in the chat a word that I've never heard before.
Yes.
What is it? Oikophobia.
Oikophobia.
Hating one's own country and culture.
Wow. Yeah, that's what the children have been taught to do.
Yes, yeah. Children of the West have been taught to hate their culture,
Yeah.
and that we're all bad. We've got to have post-colonial guilt,
Yeah.
and we have to feel very, very sorry for all the people we oppressed.
Yeah.
And it's there's a better word for it now, and it's called suicidal empathy.
Oh,
Yeah.
please. Yeah. What was that word before?
Oikophobia.
It's in the chat. It's in the chat just beside. Yeah, the other thing is apparently the an enormous support group for Chloe Sporbrook is the wealthy women.
Wealthy women.
Yeah. So they're choosing the woke path as well. Too much care, too much tolerance, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've weaponized empathy. Weaponized empathy is what's happened, and they've turned it on themselves. It's the archetypical devouring mother. Is what happens, and so I must sacrifice everybody else for my sins. And I get to the final bit of the non-negotiables, is item 4. It's about government by the people. So the political system must become open to greater participation by all those who are affected by its decisions. We will gradually work to reform this system, finding creative solutions that will enable all New Zealanders to trust it once again, and encouraging them to take an active part in it. Parliament in recent times has lost touch with the people. It is meant to serve and has become self-seeking and infiltrated by foreign powers. We will work for a thorough clean-out of our political system. We believe in local government where this is possible and practical. We believe in reduced government, less MPs, lower salaries and retirement packages for politicians, and term limits to eliminate career politicians. So your thoughts, please, on those.
There's a word that comes up frequently between Guy and I especially, and that is apathy. And it's mind-blowingly, I don't know, difficult to handle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, whereas we would love to see people get involved and get enthusiastic and have some national pride, you know, where do you start? There's so much stacked against us, but hey, I'm going to die trying.
Yeah.
So
good on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're with you. People are having too much fun, it seems. They don't want their lives to be disturbed. You know,
well, they'll be radically disturbed if they don't get off their bums and do something.
Yep.
Exactly. And by then it could be too late. You know, by the time they
there's no belief in where we're going.
For us as well. So yeah. So really we do need a bit of a spiritual component in here.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, talking of which, you've come across Turning Point. There's a Turning Point New Zealand, which is embryonic. So what do you guys think of that? Do you think it's going? Who's
Are you talking
organising?
about Charlie Kirk's organisation?
Is there still Brian Tamaki that's heading it?
And
What
it's
was
a
that,
response
Lars?
to that. Yeah.
I recall Brian Tamaki saying that he wanted to head that. Is it still within his organisation or is it someone else?
No, I think it's someone else.
I haven't heard.
No, but it'd be a wonderful initiative to get going here.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, it's the same principles of faith, family, freedoms, and flag. Your four Fs.
You know, what we seem to be missing is spokespeople who are inspiring.
Yeah.
You know, really inspiring and can inspire.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. We need some charisma.
Yeah. I feel like that's what we're waiting for.
Well,
Well,
don't wait for a hero. Don't wait for the inspiring. Be the inspiration. Be that hero.
I wish I could be that person, but I'm not. You don't want to follow me.
there's lots of people in the Bible who said just that, Catherine. Don't send me, I'm a stutterer.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well,
right.
when we hear people around us who sound like they've got what it takes, we just need to get behind them.
But also with coming back to that word, Robin, that you used, apathy, this, if we just take this phase of the war, that spiritual war that we're in since, January 2020, when the release of COVID, or if we just take that for example, it's getting closer to 6 years, and say what you call the freedom movement or the freedom community, people have just written so many submissions, signed so many petitions, and a lot of people feel that they're going nowhere. They just give up, they get burnt out, and that's what the globalists, it's all so well planned. They know in the end the energy will run out. That's what they're hoping for, and the resistance has been weakened because of the apathy. People give up. So I heard someone the other day tell me that that she met up with some people that she hadn't seen for a long time from VFF out in Howick or something, and she said that one of the ladies there said that this all happened again, she would get jabbed because it's just easier, and so she should just get on with her life, and that's where she'd got to.
Yeah.
Another thing
fallout's coming now from people, just in my little world, but people who are extremely angry because they've got health symptoms and they've lost people, and it's starting to unfold now and reveal itself for the true monster that it is.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The worst is yet to come.
Yeah.
You can see it in the data.
But as at the same time as that kind of pushing ahead, the other day there was the Michael, what the group that was supporting the Palestinian situation. They walked down Queen Street for 45 minutes. They went. Imagine how many people that is, and we noticed not a New Zealand flag
at all
in the mix. Every other flag that was opposite to what we would be thinking is where we want to go. But these people are passionately, they have got off the couch enough to come to town and walk,
These are pro-Palestine people, are they? Okay.
Yeah.
It was the day when they were going to walk over the Auckland Harbour Bridge, but that part got cancelled because of the high winds. Right. And we could see out our apartment window watching it. It went on for 45 minutes.
Wow.
So those people have been inspired by that idea of saving people, or...
Well, I don't know. I think there's a lot of hatred along with it.
Yes.
That's my observation. And also I think the Maori contingent have infiltrated as well.
There were the Maori separatist flags all over the place.
They're motivated by hatred. That's what's got them going.
Yeah. And you had LGBT flag.
Yeah, the rainbow's all in it. What motivates us is what I'm saying. What makes us passionate like that?
We're more civilized, and maybe the emotion isn't quite so raw, but it's we've just got to light that fire, don't we?
Yeah. And my concern is that it means that things have to get much worse. It's, that Like,
Ow!
you know, and we don't, it's bad
We
enough
want
for
to,
us.
We want to end this on a good note, Catherine.
Yes, but all the same, our people are all quite happily going about their business, not concerned at all. And so, you know, that's what I fear, that things are going to become worse. And as Michael said, that you know, the people that were in Wayne Brown's party, so many of those people were Chinese who had been invited to the party, so they were big donors, but they were there because they were very concerned about what they saw as a, you know, the economic destination. But our ordinary citizens who are just struggling along and trying to make a buck, they're too busy raising kids and, you know, doing something else.
An observation that I've made over a period of time at times is that Chinese people, those who have escaped the communist regime, are very motivated. Yeah.
Okay.
It's in their interest. And of course, they have economic reasons to be motivated as well. So, so there's this, oh my God, don't let communism come here. We came here to get away from it. And
Yeah.
oh my goodness, our investments are under threat. And so they're very motivating factors, aren't they?
But they're afraid, like when we went to the Tiananmen Square not celebration, commemoration, there was hardly a Chinese person there because they all had to keep their heads down because they were concerned about how will I, you know, they know that the Chinese Communist Party is absolutely rife in this country and their families are at risk also in China. So as much as they may be concerned behind the door, they are afraid of exposure.
Okay. Oh, well.
I think it's a good versus evil thing. And I think this is what I think. It's pretty way out, but I'd like to know if you think it's true. But I think that if in your life you've got a commitment to tell the truth and you tell the truth in your life, you easily see the truth and you line up with these things. This is sound very arrogant, but these things that I'm talking that like you are for in this group. And if you're a liar, like a lot of people, like most people, they tell a little white lie here and there, then you don't see it. And those are the people that are pro-Palestine. And this is what I've noticed in my own life, you know. I've noticed that the people that tell little lies, they are the people that line up with the left. I mean, it's a very way out thing to say, and it's like saying, well, God is on my side and I'm on the side of God. But that's truly what I have observed, and I don't know if I'm way out to think it.
Well,
But also, I think you can't reach the people on the left, and you can't reach the people who are pro-Maori. You cannot reach them by argument. You can't reach them by reason. You can't.
I get that.
That's my... those are the ones too far gone. And I posted something in the chat called Liberty and Property by Mises. It's a speech that he wrote in the 1950s and it argues against communism and against socialism. And I was pretty apolitical, and it really influenced me to go really hard right. And so I would like to invite you to read that. And I'd also like to suggest, since we're looking at kind of policies for the Rock the Vote to adopt, I would like to suggest looking at Austrian economics. That's what the guy in Argentina brought in, and he's bringing it in successfully. And it is a way that would turn New Zealand around economically. And also, if you're looking for someone who is influential, like you said earlier on in this conversation, someone said, well, he's dead, but Ludwig von Mises is a very impressive person. He single-handedly stopped the World War II going into Austria by his influence on his argument and influence on the government, you know, the most senior, highest political figure at the time. He put an argument to it, and he, you know, anyway, that's
At a
what I want
government
to
level,
suggest.
at a government level, Bobby, or at a people level?
Person to person, he talked to the guy, he put his argument, and he changed what, I don't know if it was the Prime Minister or what his label is, but the person equivalent of the Prime Minister, he
Okay.
changed what he would do, and that averted the war going into Austria. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Austrian economics, to bring that into New Zealand. If you're looking for ideas for the Rock the Vote party to have, is why Jacinda, pardon my expression, I'll just talk how I usually do, why she fucked up New Zealand so much is they believed in the magical thinking of modern monetary
theory, yeah.
Yeah, you'll know what I'm talking about. Well, this system of Austrian economics it's a system that is actually a sensible system of economics, and it would change New Zealand. But anyway, I put a link in the chat. It's very easy to read that because it's a speech and it only is a few pages. And it's very, very influential. So I would like that to influence Rock the Vote.
Thanks, Bobby.
Anyway, that's what I want to put forward. And one more thing while I've got a chance to speak. Robin Hutchinson, I would like to talk. I've got an issue with the flag. I'm a genealogist, and on WikiTree, which is a genealogist site, they have gone and posted on the New Zealand project, they have posted the New Zealand flag and the Maori flag alongside it. And I'm very upset about this, and
Right, I don't blame you.
I want to, because it represents New Zealand to the world. So I'm looking for any support if anyone wants to contact me, so I can direct them, because even though it's just a little wee symbol on the on an internet page,
Yeah, well, it's
I want
wrong.
it taken off, and it's a battle because those pro co-governance people own the page.
Yeah, is it part of Wikipedia, that page? Is it part of Wikipedia?
It's the same type of thing as Wikipedia, but it's for genealogy. It's a worldwide family tree. So you can put your family tree and it joins up to other people's family trees, and makes a massive publicly contributed family tree. Anyway, and then there's a New Zealand project on it. And yeah, anyway, I don't want to divert into that. I just want to, garner any support.
Good point. What's the name of it again, Bobby?
It's better if you can contact me, and then I can send you links. But it's called
How can I do that?
WikiTree. rkpagani@gmail.com, or on Facebook I am Bobby Pagani.
So,
Catherine knows my contacts.
Okay.
It got the Bobby's put her email address in the chat.
Okay. Right.
Or else it's Bobby Pagani, Bobbi Pagani, Pagani on Facebook, and I think I'm the only one with that name. You know, most names you get hundreds of people with the same name, but I think I'm the only one.
I don't know why that. I'm sure you are unique. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'll find you, and we can have a chat. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone who's into genealogy can.
Yeah.
Or flags. I just want that taken off.
Yeah, don't blame me. I do too. Okay.
Okay, that'd be good. Thanks. Okay, I dominated enough.
All right, now we're about to wrap up now. I think we're coming way past time, but just wondered if we had any final contributions, particularly from those who have not been speaking so much recently. Deborah, if Deborah would like to make a contribution, or Lars again, and Derek.
I just want to say thanks. It was really awesome.
Good.
Yeah, I apologize I didn't make it to the other ones, but I'm really glad that I made it, and yeah, hope to see you guys in person again soon.
So the next in
Beautiful.
person.
Thank you for coming on, Lars.
Yeah. And the next, we'll have another one next month, November, last of the year, for our Q&A as well.
Have you got a date for that yet, Andrew?
Yes. You're going to ask me what it is now, aren't you?
I am, yes, I need to schedule.
You need to schedule, right. Well, you can go to the Rock the Vote website and you'll see when it comes up. So first of so 18th Saturday, we've got Ewan McQueen at the Ponsonby Community Centre. 1st of November, we've got our movie night at St Columba. And 10th of November, we've got our leadership talk again. Oh, we are going to have another one. 8th of December. We may or may not have the one on the 8th of December, depending on whether that's going to be party night or not. So the next Rock the Vote Q&A is on Monday, the 10th of November.
Thank you.
I'll pick out another policy to go through as well on that. I think it makes for a discussion point. And we might even talk about economics. Why not?